Morning, people.
Hey everybody, I'm here live late in the day on a Friday. Today we're going to talk about reharmonizations, super mega modern, ultra crazy reharmonizations, but we're only going to use the 2-5-1 progression. This can be for people that are film scorers, for piano players, for trumpet players, for sax players, anything. But it's different strategies for how to harmonize a 2-5-1 progression. Now the 2-5-1 progression is the most common progression in jazz, as most of you know. And typically the chord scale that belongs to the scale degree name are the ones that you play over those, or that typically you would play. For example, the 2 chord, which is called the super tonic, you would play the Dorian mode on it. So this is, I have a 2-5-1 in the key of G here. On the 2 chord here, I'm going to put 2 minor 7 to 5 7. D 7 is the 5 chord to 1 major 7, G major 7. Now, the normal scales that you would play are A Dorian to D Mixolydian to G Ionian. Now, most of you say, well, you know, they're all in the same key. What's the difference? Why can't I just play a G major scale over them? You can, and you'll give you all the right notes, but you probably won't play the right notes at the right time, and that's the problem. If you're comping, it's one thing, because typically when you're comping, you're either a piano player and you're playing a rootless voicing because you have a bass player, or you're a guitar player and you're playing a chord with a root on it, just because it may not, you may not have a bass player and you're accompanying somebody. Or you may play a bass note in the piano and on the guitar at the same time if you're Joe Pass and Oscar Peterson playing together. But I'm going to think of this as how to reharm a 2-5-1, both harmonically, comping wise, and for single note playing. Okay, so let's talk about voicings. Now typically your 2-5-1, let's say if you're doing a 2-5-1 in G, I've got my A minor 7 chord, and I'm going to go to a D9 chord and then do a G major 7. These are your standard drop voicings on guitar. And these are unaltered chords. None of the chords are altered. This is a straight A minor 7. You got your 1, 7, flat, 3, 5. This is a D9. You got 1, 3, flat, 7, 9. And this is G major 7. 1, major 7, 3rd, 5th. Okay? There's no altered tones except for the 9th. There's an extended tone. If I went like that, I could play a straight D7 chord like that, but it's kind of square sounding. Okay? It also doesn't give me the voice leading there. So that would typically, and you'd get your lines like, okay? I did the lick there for you people that know the lick video. Anyways, that's kind of a joke that that some people are in on, apparently, that I've quoted this on purpose in a couple videos to see if people notice, and people have noticed. Anyways, so look up the lick. So that would be an unaltered 2-5-1. Unaltered, you know, if you're playing that would be a 2-5-1 line that would be, and okay, kind of boring, kind of vanilla sounding. When you want to start stretching and altering things, the first thing you typically do is alter the 5 chord. By altering the 5 chord, it will give you tension notes that will lead you in a stronger direction towards the tonic, okay? So typically, the first alteration that people began using back in the 1600s or so, probably before then actually, would be the flat 9 on a dominant chord. Okay, so this is a D7 flat 9. So I've used the natural 9, which would be E, we changed to E flat. So that now it's the flat 9, and it creates a flat 9 interval. That's why it's called a flat 9. And it resolves to the 5th of the dominant chord. So you have lines like, okay, there's your flat 9. Okay, so that flat 9 to resolve to the 5th like that, or that would be. Okay, now that chord comes from the dominant diminished scale. That's the whole step. That's the diminished scale that starts with a half step on the tonic of the dominant chord. That's why it's called dominant diminished. So it'd be. That's the scale that goes over that, half whole diminished. I call it dominant diminished. The whole half diminished I call tonic diminished because you use it over actual diminished chords, and it starts with a whole step. So this dominant diminished. Okay, that's that scale that has that flat 9 in it. Okay, so in that case you go from Dorian to dominant diminished. I'm calling it dom dim to Ionian. Okay, so we got D dominant diminished. Now, in that scale, we have 3 altered tones. We have the flat 9, we have the sharp 9, and we have the flat 5. Now, I actually put the flat 9 and flat 5 together because it's easier to finger that way. No, because it sounds cool. Well, if I look at this, I'm like, man, I hear a major chord there. That's an A flat major triad. So it's really an A flat major over D sound. Right? So if I play A Dorian, I just did an A flat major arpeggio. So I played. And then on this chord, I did. To the 3rd. Okay, that's dominant diminished. So you're going to get those sharp 9 chords, and you have a sharp 9 chord. So if you're doing lines like this, that would be a typical Dorian to diminished to Ionian line right there. The next most dissonant, or the next dissonant scale that you can use is a Dorian on the dominant chord would be a sus4 flat 9 sound. Okay, so that would give you a sound like this. So you got the 2 chord here, and then, which gives you this kind of a, which is a really nice sound. Not many people use that sus4 and flat 9 together. It's actually a really cool sound to use. Okay, so I'm playing a C minor triad over D. So here's your 2 chord, your A minor chord, 7 to your D, 7 sus4 flat 9 to your D7 to your G major 7 over B. I did a first inversion G major 7 chord there. This is your part of your major 7. I put the 3rd root. There's your 5th, or so your root, your major 7th, 5th, 3rd. Okay, so I did 2 A minor 7 like that to a sus4 flat 9 to just a regular flat 9 to a first inversion major 7th chord. Okay, it's a really cool sound. So if I'm going to play a line, let's say I play. So I played part of a C minor add 9 triad. That gives you the sound right there. Okay. That's your sus4 flat 9, which is going to be D. I'll call it sus4 flat 9, which is really kind of a Dorian flat 2 sound, but it's used in this case as a dominant chord. But I'm using only a piece of it. I'm actually thinking more like a polychord here, like a C minor add 9 over D sound. Okay, that's one that's really, that a lot of you that are jazz players probably don't use because it's not that common. It's one that I like, that you don't hear many people play. The next one that you would go to typically would be the altered dominant scale. That's going to give you all the alter notes. It gives you one extra note. The difference between the dominant diminished and the altered dominant is in the dominant diminished, because you have an 8-note scale, you have the 5th and you have the 13th in it. Whereas the altered dominant scale has a sharp 9, flat 9, sharp 5, flat 5. So there is no natural 13, it has a flat 13 or sharp 5, same note. So that would be D altered dominant. Now, some of you may know this scale as the super Locrian mode, as the diminished whole tone scale. It's all the same. They're all the same notes. That's got a different sound to it though, because it's got that beautiful sharp 5 there. You could do the similar thing like we did before. There, I used the A major triad, but I added the 9th to the A major triad. The 9th on the A major. That 9th is the sharp 5 of the 5 chord. So I played, or you can go right into it, or right. So that's an altered dominant sound. Or so I did more of a standard. That's your altered dominant scale. That's your altered dominant sound. That's the most tension that you can get without starting to get a little bit more far out. Well, if we just stick with that for now and say, well, what else can I do? Can I alter the 2 chord? Can I alter the tonic chord? Yeah, you can alter the tonic chord. And what is the first alteration you could do? Well, the first alteration is to make the tonic chord a G Lydian. Use the G Lydian mode, which is really a major 7 sharp 11 sound. Now I'll play it in chords. Whoops, not sharp 7, sharp 11 sound. So if you were to play it in chords, it'd be something like this. So it'd be 2, 5, 1. You hear that? That tritone, that's a sharp 11. If you count up 11 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's sharp 11 because I raised it. If it were a natural 11, it'd have the C natural and it'd sound like this. This would be a natural 11. That's more like an Alan Holdsworth kind of a sound, which is that's also cool. Really cool sound, very modern. Lydian is this. The Ionian sound is that. So if I played an A Ionian, it would sound like, or a G Ionian sound like that. So you could go 2, I made the 2 chord a minor 11, 2, 5. I did a B major over D, which gives me a 13 flat 9 sound. And then I could go to Ionian, or 2, 5, Lydian, or I could go 2 chord like that, A minor 11 sound, right? 2, 5 like that, and then I could go to my to my Ionian, or 2-5 Lydian. Oh, that's a sweet sound there. I like that. So if I have A minor 11, and then I'm going to go to I did a dominant diminished there. There's your Lydian sound. Lydian sound could be. That's a great Lydian sound. Okay, so there's your Lydian. I did. There's your Lydian note, and I resolved up to the 5th. Okay, so I've altered the one chord one way. Well, the next way to alter it is to make it Lydian augmented. So this would be G Lydian augmented. I'm going to do Lydian plus. That would be this is going to be a major 7 sharp 5 sound. Okay, now that has a different sound. That sound is like a B major triad over G. Okay, so you start getting into sounds like this: 2, 5, 1, like that. That's a cool sound. You probably wouldn't go 2, 5, 1. If you do an unaltered 5 chord, it's a strange juxtaposition when you have an unaltered dominant chord and then the tonic chord has more tension than the dominant chord, which is what you don't want to do. You want to have the tension needs to either move towards the tonic or keep going even in the tonic and then resolve. Because typically on the when you use a major 7 sharp 5 sound, you will hear a lot of people play that 13th there. That sharp 5 it doesn't want to resolve down to the 5th. It wants to move up, okay, to the major 13. When I say it's a 13, the E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There we go. There's your note, your 13. That'd be G major 13. So 2, I'm using D7 sharp 9, so it has the tension, and then I'm going to G major 7 sharp 5, and I'm resolving it up to G major 13. Okay, so if I play A Dorian, and I did and then I'm already on that sharp 5, so I might play what if I go like this? So there's your Lydian augmented sound. Okay, so for comping purposes, what you don't want to do, you want to somehow lead down to that sound. So I did my Lydian augmented right to that, and I resolved it to the 6th that time. So I did a first inversion A minor 7. Then I could go to A flat major over D, to a B major over G, to G6 major 7 6 there. I call it a 6 here because that note there is in the first octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So that is a great alteration to use on the on the 1 chord. Now, you can start getting into alterations on the 2 chord. This is where it really gets interesting. Because you can change this A Dorian, well, you can actually play it as a Dorian sound. But if you do, you have to go somewhere with it. An A Dorian sound is this. So it's an A minor 13 sound. So I've got 1, flat 7, flat 3, natural 13, okay? Once again, it's the 13 because it's 13 notes up the Dorian scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's why they call it a 13th. It's that simple. So if I play that chord there, then I have to do something that's of equal tension. I can't use an unaltered dominant chord after that. One of the reasons is that 13th, that third, and F sharp's already given away the sound of the dominant chord. Okay, the F sharp is the third of the next chord. So if I go, I've already given it up. So I have to go to make it a sharp 9. You know, you'd go 2, and I would go to a sharp 9 there. Okay, or if I went, and then you'd go, you could go up to that G major 7, so you have a line like that, right? And I made it linear augmented there. So I did a Dorian to D altered dominant to G mixed linear sharp 11. I'm sorry, G linear augmented. Sorry about that. And if you wanted to resolve it up, you could do that. Okay. So I could also take that 2 chord and I could make it an Aeolian chord. This is where it starts to get interesting. This is this modal modulation, modal mixture idea. Modal mixture is where you're using other modes than the one that should be there. People call it modal interchange. It's all the same thing. So normally, when you have a 2 chord function, you play Dorian. But if you play Aeolian and you outline the sound right, if you just meander through an Aeolian scale, you're going to sound like you're playing the wrong chord. You have to actually play something that sounds like, okay, so here's my Aeolian chord. There's my line right there. I just made an Aeolian sound. Hey, Peter. So that's my Aeolian sound there. So I've got this Lydian triad. It's really an F Lydian triad. So F, B, C, but it's an inversion. And I have that. So I've got root, an A minor, root, flat 7, flat 3rd, flat 6, natural 9. So this is a flat 6, an A minor 9, flat 6, you would call this chord. But it's an Aeolian sound. Right? It's a beautiful sound. There. Right? So now, once I've given away that note, that F natural there, well, that's the sharp 9 of the D chord. Okay, so then it's like, well, what am I going to do there? If you give it away that note, you have to be thinking about these things. If you're comping or if you're soloing. This starts to get into more sophisticated stuff. It's not that sophisticated, though. Some of you may think, oh, man, it's all these modes and everything. It's not really that sophisticated. You just have to look at the chords, and if you're on your piano or whatever instrument, you just have to think about the notes that are in there. And you have to outline using the important notes. And what are the important notes here? To give it a minor 7 flat 6 sound, you need the flat 3rd and flat 7. Those are pretty important notes. And the flat 6 and the 9. Just make a scale up out of that. Root, 9, flat 3rd, flat 7, and flat 6. And that can be your scale. And you put the 5th in there too. That's all you need. Or you play out of the chord shape. I just did a video today that came out earlier where I'm playing over an E minor chord, and I'm playing out of, I'm using chord shapes to play lines, like I did, where I did an E Aeolian sound. That would be an E Aeolian sound, and it's really outlining using really specific notes of the E Aeolian mode to give that sound, to throw that sound out there, the Aeolian chord. Well, same thing here. When I'm on A Aeolian, if you look at it, well, I've given away this F note, which is this, and that sounds cool. You can use a D7 sharp 9 after it because you're actually bringing in the F from this chord actually moves up to F sharp, even though the top note stays the same, right? Or you could simply go 2, and then you could use a 5 chord like that, although I probably wouldn't, but you could go 2, 5, that would be more modern. So anytime you have a dominant chord here, you can substitute using just make a major triad there and put your second finger there. That gives you that 13 flat 9 sound, but it's down here on the inner strings. It sounds great. So 2, 5, 1. So that's using modal mixture where you're using an altered 2 chord sound. That's a very hip, modern sound that's not complex if you just think about it a little bit and experiment. So 2, 5, 1, okay? Or you could go 2, 5, I did A flat major over D, okay? Which is a dominant 7, flat 9, flat 5 sound. And I give you that E note right there. We've been missing that E note. That's your 5th of your A minor. Then you've got your top note is going, which is cool. That's a good, is a really beautiful sound. Very modern, okay? Well, what else can you do? Well, you could make this an A Phrygian chord. Okay, what would an A Phrygian chord be? Well, simply a Phrygian chord is basically, you take the root and you build a major triad a half step above the root. So what's a half step above A is a B flat major chord. So you'd be playing B flat major over A. There's my B flat major, or I could do it here. Okay, so that would be a 2 chord. 2, 5, 1, and I just follow chromatic. Right? Let's think about this in context. If I'm doing all the things you are, right? But I did. Okay, that would be a different way to use it. You could totally use that in your soloing. Okay, you could voice lead it here. Right, you could do like this. I used a tricky little E flat. I used a Phrygian on the D chord too. 2, 5, 1. Ooh. Now we're getting into some sweet sounds here, okay? This is where the thing starts to open up with possibilities of taking fragments of these chords and using them to reharmonize. For example, if you take the A flat triad on the dominant chord, this is just A flat over D or a D7 flat 9 flat 5 sound. Let's say I go 2, 5, 1. Okay, what did I do there? This is a cool reharmonization here. I did an A minor 11 2-chord. That's a standard thing you would play. But then I did a B flat sus sound, or B flat 11 sound. But I'm playing the A flat major chord, the same chord that I did on this, right? And I just took the root and I put it on. What if I put the root here and just made it more of an open sound where it's not as dissonant? You'll never hear 2-5-1s like that. 2-5-1. That's very hip. Well, you can actually solo over that, right? You could go, and then you could play. So I'm playing this. Now you play Lydian there, right? Where I'm using the A major pentatonic over it, but. And then you got this chord. So I just played a little arpeggio here. I played B flat, and I'm playing that sound with the B flat on. I'm just playing that major 7 arpeggio, right? That's the sound. Very, very cool sound. You go to that major 13 too, right? So I really could use that A flat chord because it's got such strong tendencies to move down because it wants to move to G. I can harmonize this with many different bass notes. Okay, I don't have to use the D. I could use the B. B is okay, but B gives away the third of the tonic chord. Okay, so I probably won't use that, but that's a good one to use. That one's a good one to use. Okay, so I could go. Or I could do that actually. I could go 2, 5, 1, or I could go 2, 5, and then go 1 like that. My 1 chord here becomes a B11 chord, or A major over B. Okay. Now, why does that work? Well, because I've got the third of the G major 7 chord, and I have the 9, sharp 11, and 13. Okay, so I got third, 9, 11, sharp, 13. If somebody played the G on that, it would sound like a G leading chord. If a bass player was playing a low G, it would sound like that. So I could play, you could play 2, 5, 1, like that. You could play, and that's a really, really cool substitute there. You could play 2, 5, 1. I use B minor 11 as a sub for G major 7, okay? So really, if you just take the root and the third of the chords, you can come up with some great substitutions. This G major 7 doesn't have to be that. It can be G major 7 sharp 11, or G major 7 sharp 5, or it could be G major 7 in first inversion, or it can be a B minor 11 chord. Okay, because remember the 3 chord, the median, is a sub for the 1 chord. So, right, you got G major 7 as your tonic. If you go to the 3 chord, what notes do I have? B minor 7 has the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, and 9th. It's just a G major 9 chord with no root. So if I put the root on it, it becomes a G major 9 chord. It's that simple. Okay, so I say, okay, well, I can make a B minor 11 chord there, right? Or this, that you would normally play. And getting that voice leading like that, or so 2, 5, 1. Okay, that gives you some real different possibilities of where to go that you might not normally think of. Well, what other A flat chords can I use? Let's see, could I use, if you use this chord, you could use that. I could do my 2 chord, I could go 2, 5, where I'm doing A flat major over G, 5, did the B major and the major 7 sharp 5 chord, because this is so tense sounding that you need to have a tense sounding 1 chord and then resolve it. Okay? But I probably try and find something with F sharp in it, maybe. Okay, so if I've got this, so I can go here, 2, 5, 1. Now, if I go to this F sharp leading augmented, well, what notes do I have on this? I've got the third, I got the sharp 9, sharp 5, and the root. Well, the reason this works is because this comes right out of E flat altered dominant. Okay, it's really G flat. Leading augmented is a sub for D altered. Okay, it comes right out of the D altered dominant scale. So 2, 5, 1. But I did that chord and then I resolved it to the major 7 sharp 11. Okay, because I'm always trying to think of how is my voice leading working. So I've got that D, common tone, resolving to C sharp, right? Or I can go 2, 5, 1. So if you use like an F sharp major 13 chord as a sub for that, right? And then you can go there too. So 2, 5, 1, or 2, 5, 1. All right. So many cool possibilities here. You can harmonize that flat 9 as well. If you're in this, I could use a minor major 9 chord, for example, as a sub for my 5 chord. So I've got my 2 chord to my 5 chord. Although that might sound a bit jumpy if I do that. So I may go with a let's say I go, this is an A minor 9, A minor 7 9 over E. I just took the root out of it and I played the, might be hard for people to finger that. Or I could go the A minor 13 to the E flat minor major 7 9 chord to the G major 7 over B sound. Okay, so those are all a bunch of possibilities that should open up your mind to how to reharmonize a simple 2-5-1 progression. Don't get locked into the same grips, whether you're a piano player, whether you're a sax player. Open up those possibilities. Write tunes that have these in them. That's the thing, is like you actually need to write a tune, write a ballad or something that has a slow moving progression that uses these 2-5-1s, or transpose them to different keys. Write a bossa nova, okay? And you're writing, you know, or I might do something like this. So I'm using that sus4 flat 9. Or you can do, like it's almost like a 1-6-2-5. So A minor 7, B flat 11 to B minor 11 to D flat major over E, which gives you an E13 flat 9 sound. So I'm walking that note up. I'm going there. I'm sorry, I did minor 11, so da da da. Always think about that top melody line and your voice leading as well. If you write a progression like that and you work on playing over it, it'll really open up your playing. And you can play these things, even if the bass player is playing A minor to D7 to G major 7. you can superimpose these sounds over it. That's what the idea of substitute chord changes is actually just superimposing what's already there. You can write a tune that uses these and actually plays it. You say, oh, I want you to play this aeolian sound, and I call it G chordal over A. If you watch some of my older videos, you'll know that, you know that sound. Okay, or you just play your lines as if you're soloing over those. Well, the bass player and piano player are playing the straight 2-5-1s. The piano player will probably get out of the way if you start soloing like that, or they'll be like, wow, that sounds cool. What is that? What is he playing? Anyways, are there any questions? I have Aaron moderating for me here, and he will take any questions that anyone has right now. They want you to play a tune. I think I've been playing a tune here. I just played like 10 tunes or so. What can I play? Oh man, I don't know if I can play a tune right now. I'm pretty tired. This is my second video today I've made. Any questions? Tell them I'll play a tune. I'll play a tune.
All the Things You Are.
On my next live video. What about it?
They want All the Things You Are.
They want me to play All the Things You Are?
Yeah.
Oh man, I haven't played All the Things You Are in forever. Let's see if I can do this. There's my B major over D. And then here's my G major 7 sharp 5. Then I go. I tried to incorporate a couple things. I wanted to get this in.
People are loving it.
What's that?
They're loving it.
I tried to incorporate as many things as I talked about in here. So when I was doing the chord melody there, I was like, okay, I got to put in a couple of these voicings I'm talking about. So on my first chord there, my F minor, I've got the A flat in the melody, so I did. What do you notice about that chord? Well, there's that flat 9 interval glaring right in there, that G and A flat. Then on here, so I got the root, the 9th, 7th, and the 3rd. I have that flat 9. Then I use a little mixolydian chord, which is a nice sound, right? There's your major 7 sharp 5 chords, right? The little, bass line. Then here, I got my flat 9 interval there. To my F minor, I got my flat 9 interval there. I forget what I did. All you need to do is use like that. I forget what it is. I did something like that. Ooh, there's my sus4 flat 9. There's my major 7 sharp 5. That works really well in All Things You Are on the tonic chord of the bridge, right? Ooh, there's a little kind of a modern. I'm using a F Lydian over B flat. F Lydian add 9 over B flat, or over B, I mean. Well, I forget what it is. Right? You don't need much there, then. Or you could go, I'm just using 2-note intervals. What did I do? There we go, I like that. So I just did a little. It's hard to do on this guitar. Somebody asked me a question about this particular guitar, what kind it is. It's a Dan Electro made in Korea. Serial number is 010288. I don't know what year it is, but I literally paid $200 for it. But it sounds great. I think it's like a Formica body, or maybe the old ones used to be Formica, and it's just some type of, I don't know if it's wood. Does anybody know? Is anybody answering if they know if it's wood or not? It might be plastic. I don't know. Maybe I can't tell if it's wood or not, but it has a great sound. It has a great neck. You notice there's no truss rod here. You actually have to take the neck out. It's bolted. You have to take the bolts out, adjust the neck, the tension rod in it, and then put it back on and hope that it actually adjusts properly. So, anyways, any other questions?
No.
Awesome. All right. Go have a great weekend. This has been fun. I haven't done a lecture in a while. In case you guys have been missing it, I don't know if I'm the only YouTuber that does 2 videos in a day, but I do it because it's fun. Tell your friends to subscribe. And if you're interested in the Beato book, which has all this stuff in it, write me a rickbeato1@gmail.com. Thanks everybody for watching.